Good morning and welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. And welcome to our new monthly series with David LaValle. He's the head of U.S. SPDR ETF Capital Markets Research over at State Street Global Advisors. We're going to meet once a month to talk about the challenges and opportunities in the ETF space and other trends in the capital markets. Dave, thanks so much for joining us at MarketSite. And let's talk about your role at SSgA and, of course, their role within the industry.
Sure. So I am the U.S. head of capital markets at the SPDR ETF business here based in New York. We spend a lot of time focusing on our relationships that we have with exchanges such as Nasdaq and also with our broker-dealer partners and our market-making partners to ensure that the market quality in our products are appropriate and that our clients are having a great experience.
All right, let's take a higher level view. What are some of the challenges and opportunities that you see within the ETF space?
The ETF industry continues to grow. There's absolutely no doubt about that, and there's plenty about the asset growth. But the reality is education is one of the biggest challenges still. The user base continues to be diverse in the ETF industry. We're seeing institutions such as pensions and endowments and foundations and insurance companies start to take a very hard look at ETFs. And so the challenge continues to be ensuring that our client base is educated. The opportunity is really about growth. It's about global growth. It's about growth in certain asset classes, and fixed income would be the one that I would focus on the most. All
right, so we're seeing a lot of flows come out of actively managed mutual funds and into the ETF space. Do you think that's a trend that's going to continue going forward?
I do think it's a trend that's going to continue. The advice market is changing, right? And as a result of that, I think the demographic shift in the investor and the transition of wealth from one generation to the next is going to really continue to be a tailwind to the ETF industry, because investors are telling us that they prefer low cost, investors are telling us that they prefer transparency, and investors are telling us they like the immediacy of the access to the ETF, and all of those are benefits of an ETF.
Would you say that the ETF space is oversaturated with thousands to choose from?
Yeah, I think that's something that we hear a lot about. There's too many ETFs in the marketplace. It's funny that there's still a fraction of the number of mutual funds that are out there. So I don't think it's too saturated. At SPDR ETFs, we're really focused on making sure that we're bringing products to market that our clients need. And additionally, we're also looking at the current products that we have on our shelf. And when the opportunity arises and it makes most sense for us to take something off the shelf, we'll do that as well.
Well, with all the thousands of ETFs out there, as an investor, what's the process for selecting the one that works for you?
Right. I think that oftentimes everyone takes a look at an ETF and solely looks at the management fee associated with an ETF, and I think that's pretty short-sighted. I always say that there are many ETF issuers and there are many ETFs out there, and not every ETF is created equally and not every ETF issuer is created equally. So when you're looking to make an investment decision, first figure out what your investment need is, then figure out the product. And when you're looking at a product by product comparison, you need to ensure that obviously the cost profile and the management fee is a consideration, but the liquidity profile and the bid-ask spread is a consideration, and also the support that you can receive from the issuer is another consideration.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us at MarketSite. We'll see you back here in September.
Thanks so much.
And thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.